Yeah.
Yo, what is up, guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. This is going to be the LCS 2021 Summer Split Week 4 recap. And joining me here today for the recap of the LCS 2021 Summer Split Week 4 is Warren. He's kind of tired right now because he's been jumping on other people's streams and helping them out, providing content for the people. And then he's also today, like later on, going on our friend Paul's stream for his a clean slate podcast. So Warren, whenever you do something bad, you can always get a clean slate, right?
Yeah. Clearly. Clearly.
Yeah. Warren's kind of tired right now, so don't worry, guys. This week for the LCS was actually really interesting. Because we had more roster changes. FlyQuest ended up bringing out Diamond, Kumo, and another player from their academy squad. Then you also had Team Liquid firing Resign, whatever semantics you want to use. Dignitas fired Dardoch, or he chose to leave. Whatever that semantics you want to choose for that one, do that. And then you also had Cloud9 bouncing back. They went 2-1. TSM went 2-1, and 100 Thieves basically solidifying they are the best team in the LCS currently right now. But I know a lot of people are like, Reaper's teams always kind of do well in a regular season. So let's see how they do well in the playoffs too, because in the playoffs, obviously, that's where it obviously matters more.
Playoffs?
Playoffs, yeah. Gonna have to see them win the playoffs. It's kind of what this is about, Warren,
Right. Right. It was Tomo, Diamond, three people.
Yeah. So FlyQuest ended up putting in three people for their roster against Golden Guardians. So, let's just knock this out super quickly with some of these bottom tier teams. Like, guys, because there's a reason why I don't really talk about some of the bottom tier teams, because they're just not that good unless they make some huge drastic roster change. I don't really mention them too much, because I'm just gonna be honest here, I watch the games, but I don't really care for them too much. Not just because I like Cloud9, or even when I watch LEC because I like G2, I don't really care for what some of these other bottom tier teams do, because they don't make any improvements to the league, and they don't really overall improve most of the time anyway. Some of the times, during some splits, whether it be in spring or summer, they'll have these runs where they'll do really well, and then they'll just flop out, because it's pretty much always a guarantee they're only doing well because the other teams with the much better players are failing currently at that moment. Now, Dignitas actually was doing pretty well despite having worse players than the teams at the top of the table, but then they started imploding their own roster because of their own stupid decisions, but that's the reason why I don't really watch obviously I watch Golden Guardian games. My thing basically is, there's nothing really of value to talk about with Golden Guardians, because gameplay is not that good generally. They'll do good in early games sometimes against some top tier teams, and then just throw it away, like they did against Cloud9 in their game earlier this past weekend. What do you think about Golden Guardians, dude?
Honestly, I'm on the same boat. These teams are the difference between LEC and LCS when it comes to watching teams is you have a 60% chance of an upset, whereas you watch LCS, you already know that 9 times out of 10,
Mm-hmm.
the top team's gonna beat the bottom team because
Mm-hmm.
they're just not competitive, and we can literally say we can't see these teams at Worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. It's not that I don't care for them, but they need to do something over the next. I don't know, after summer is over, to figure out how that they can make, instead of seeing the clear front runners and then you see the clear bottom feeders, which
Mm-hmm.
not to be disrespectful, they need to figure out how to make it where the league, like when you look at the LEC, you see, oh, the teams are pretty even, the records are pretty. You can see who's the
Mm-hmm.
top four, who's the middle of the pack. They need to figure that out, because right now I'm not really interested. Like, basically, these teams need to figure out how can we draw a fan base, because how can we pull a TSM, a C9, even
Mm-hmm.
100 Thieves, and TL fan from them to a Golden Guardians and
Mm-hmm.
Immortals? Because I'm not invested. I don't. I mean, Immortals seems like they're doing okay, but other than that, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I'm not invested in these teams. I
It's
don't
like,
see.
yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. Like, I care about these teams, but I only really care about these teams in a platonic sense. Like, how am I gonna word this so people don't take this offensive? Because every time I post these videos to Reddit, people always take this shit offensive. How do I say this, guys? These teams don't provide anything significant to the point where I should care about them as a fan of the league. I have my own team that I support, that I've been supporting since since 2014, obviously, and then I just don't really see these guys as anything valuable. They don't really do anything, you know. They'll have like these weird lucky runs where you know it's based on luck because they're not consistent ever in some of these runs, you know. FlyQuest will have like good runs sometimes where they'll make like fourth place, or like last year where they finally got a chance to go to Worlds, right? But you know that's on average not them. Golden Guardians will sometimes have splits where they're doing pretty well, and sometimes they'll make playoffs and make a run for it, like they did last year. But you on average know that's not them. CLG right now is doing okay. They've made some improvements. They're doing okay. They had that 3-0 week, and then they went I'm pretty sure, yeah, CLG went, yeah, they lost all games this week actually. They went back to
Yeah,
their,
but previously they went on a 4 game winning streak, I think, or 3 game
yeah, and
winning
then
streak, something
this
like that.
week, they did a 180. They lost all the games. So that's my thing with CLG is like people were like praising them for their win streak the previous week, and I was like, how about we take a step back and go, this is CLG here. Come on. Like you were like Pobota's an imposter and shit. He's trash.
Yeah, he's a criminal. He's literally icing away these teens' paychecks because he doesn't want to work at In and Out. So like,
Hey man, In and Out is good food. Nah, I'm just kidding. In and Out sucks, dude. Don't let any California tell you about In and Out. In and Out's overrated trash, man. Fuck In and Out. Oh my god, dude. Good fries. Not gonna lie, the fries are good, but In and Out's overrated as fuck. For FlyQuest, dude, the roster's just not that good. Like when we came into this season, I was like, okay, they have a good, decent roster, like good enough to be playoff material. Like I think their max peak has always been like sixth place, maybe seventh, fighting for a playoff spot. Depending, well, summer playoffs because they'll be like eighth, and for spring they'll be like sixth place. They didn't make playoffs in spring, and now they're just solidified pretty much eighth place with CLG with a record of 9-21. You know, I don't see anything special with their team. I feel so bad for Licorice because I still see him as a pretty solid player. And like you see it in their games, he's still a pretty solid player overall. I think he would shine better on a top tier team. Outside of like Licorice, I'm not really seeing anything out of most of these guys. Like
yeah,
Johnson is like Johnson's fine.
yeah, like I could see Licorice. It wouldn't be out of their own possibility if Licorice, because I don't think the top teams, unless TSM's like really like, oh, we'll take Licorice
Hooney, yeah.
over Hooney. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can see Licorice going to Immortals because they look like they're up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would certainly be an upgrade over
What about
Revenge.
Fake God? What about Licorice over Fake God? I mean, I don't really care how Licorice is slumping right now. I take Licorice over Fake God. That's just me personally.
I mean, they need
Yeah, I forgot. Warren hates Dig.
they need one more than one import. That's
Oh, remember they branded themselves as the NA team. So if they import, their three fans are gonna be pretty mad at them.
that means you, T Root. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, T Root.
It's just like
You're a good
I
guy.
I don't really see anything good with FlyQuest. Honestly, like it doesn't really matter if they do multiple roster substitutions. It doesn't really matter. I just don't see them as a good team. They've just not looked special. There's nothing interesting about their playstyle, and the same thing goes with Golden Guardians. At least for CLG, that they try to pull out these picks like the Vi, Kled, Lissandra, and it has got them some success. They have a weird identity, but at least I can say for them. What is FlyQuest's identity? What is Golden Guardian's identity? What is good about these teams? Immortals, the same thing too. What is good about Immortals? Like, even looking at Immortals, they're not really that good either. There's like two good players on their roster, Raze and Xerxes, and if those,
Um,
you know,
I mean, their record right now they're 7-5 in the summer. So if so if this was to be the
They went
standings
two and
were the
one. It's not bad. They beat Golden Guardians and they beat CLG. Two teams they're supposed to be better than. So
right, they're beating their bottom half. So I can definitely I think on a given day if Immortals plays well, I could see them. I don't see them past fifth place. That's the honest truth. But
mhm.
I could see them. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they may pull off an upset on a top team here or there if the top team's not paying attention. That's the only team out of the bottom after fifth place that I because Dig's just not Dig's in a mess right now.
Yeah,
I can see pulling off an upset. So
Dignitas is pretty much like it's like Golden Guardians and Dig are like speed running to compete who's the worst team in the league. I just don't get it. Like I don't know what people were smoking, dude. I genuinely thought Dardoch was the best jungler in the league, next to like closer. Before they benched him, like he was the reason why they got their wins in general. And him and Afremu, I want to make sure I give credit to Dardoch and Afremu for playing really really well and being the clear cut reasons why this team was doing well. Neo was pulling his weight in a lot of these games too, but you can clearly see now without Dardoch they do look worse. Even in Dignitas's like press release for their announcing of Dardoch basically getting publicly fired. They're like, well, Acadian's an LCS caliber player. They basically just said he's just not as good as Dardoch, so and we're just gonna run with this guy. That's basically what they're saying.
right,
Because like, if they really believed that Acadian was better than Dardoch, why were you not playing Acadian? Oh wait, guys, they did that like last year with Froggen, and that didn't work.
they're
So
stupid. I'm sorry. I'm not. Maybe I'm just tired and just the mean is coming up, but they're just stupid.
yeah, like what? And Kenny's an LCS caliber player. Sure, you tried that last year with Froggen and Huni. That didn't work out, So that's why, like, it doesn't really matter what they do. They need a good jungler, and they had a good jungler, and it didn't work out. Now, if Dardoch was just being a severe dick, asshole, jerk, I mean, I wouldn't say I fired him right now. Maybe when your season's over and you ain't doing shit for like 2 months, maybe get rid of him then. Because then you would be intentionally tanking your season right now. Like I would have literally just stuck out with it. I would have just stuck it out, got to playoffs, then at playoffs make a jungle change because that way you're at least securing yourself in playoffs or something like that. Firing him right now doesn't do anything. This literally puts them at risk potentially if they lose more games of not making playoffs. But maybe guaranteed with their record, they're gonna make playoffs in general. They'll probably just be there over FlyQuest and Golden Guardians. But I don't see this team doing anything outside of the first round of playoffs. These people that run Dig, I don't know, man. I just don't see it personally. And that's it for Dignitas. So like moving on to like Evil Geniuses and shit like that. Evil Geniuses are not bad. They lost to Team Liquid, but they won the rest of their games against Dig and TSM actually. So you had Contracts who did really well in the game against TSM, and I know that was the storyline for this week was Contracts beating TSM. But my thing here is like a lot of people were talking about that dude, and then it's like, but none of you really care about Contracts though. Like you mentioned, in our Cloud9 podcast episode on Monday, like people didn't really care for this guy until he just beat TSM at this random one game
Yeah,
a
the one
season,
game.
one game, and people are like overblowing this shit. I'm like, okay, let's calm down here. Like, they're still running with Svenskeren. You know what I mean? Like, and EG has pointed out they're still going to be running with Svenskeren, which I don't think they should. I think they should actually play Contracts, personally, my own personal opinion, because Svenskeren has been slumping literally like the whole year, essentially. He's not looked that good. Spring was okay, but this season has definitely not looked that good from him. That's me personally. I'm not a guy to fucking overrate a one random best of one performance he had on Diana. That's one game, guys. We haven't
On
seen
a
him play
broken
the.
ass champion if you get ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't anyone
Warren's
tell
always
me.
been the proponent. You've always been the proponent of Jungle Diana.
No, I think the champion is good. Like don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to say that you know
Hmm.
Ooh. Oh man, it's sold out every time. I'm not trying to say that
Hmm.
he's not a good player, but like the champ, like there's a couple picks right now that even though Riot has said we're gonna nerf them, they're still good. Like the Rumble nerf, people are still playing Rumble. I wonder why? Because he's still friggin' broken in the jungle. Like you need to
Hmm.
realize that some picks, these pros, the reason why they say a champion is busted, broken, or overpowered is because they know in a competent hand of someone who uses the champion to its maximum potential and performs mechanically at an optimal level,
Hmm.
they're gonna dominate. That what like when you see an Akali performance in LPL, it's like you basically the enemy team want to get to head. It's like the enemy team saying GG next. Let's get ready for the next best of three game that we have planned because they know that they just can't beat it. So like I'm happy for the guy. You know, he's kind of got written off, like sort of like Hooney got written off. But
Hmm.
like, let's not, like you said, let's not jump the boat and be like, oh, it's contracts is the answer for EG because what happens when EG loses? Because they're gonna lose.
Yeah, this team's
like
not doing anything in playoffs. This team's not making worlds. Let's be honest here. Like,
like they're gonna lose. So
hmm.
like, what happens when EG loses? Are you gonna be like, are these same contracts fans all of a sudden gonna come out of the woodwork and be like, oh, it's okay, contracts, you got this? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I want to see that. I want to see that. That's all.
I just don't see EG doing anything. Like, they might be running contracts next year over Svenskeren, which I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with that. But I just didn't get the I I get it. If someone cries, it makes things emotional. I get it, and I understand it from his point of view to be emotional like that. I 100% understand that. But the fans, oh my god, is that how you cry when a girl breaks up with you, Warren?
No, no, I don't cry.
Oh my god,
Please.
I don't cry because I don't think of it as a manly emotion, but like I don't know. I've learned over these many years of watching League not to overrate a performance. It's just not worth it, and it usually just always boils down to like that person just played well on that day. That's all it boils down to. EG outside of Contracts' storyline, because that's been their only storyline this fucking past week. Impact to me is one of the best top laners in the league. Jizuke still is Jizuke. They're just not that good of a team outside of like Impact and Ignar. That's pretty much it. Team Liquid, they ended up losing their other game against TSM. They've lost both games to TSM. It was kind of crazy. TSM has 4-0 Team Liquid throughout the spring split and summer split of 2021. That's crazy. They 4-0'd them. Like, bet Warren's really happy about that, knocking out the rival team like that, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
They 4-0 TSM, Team Liquid. It has definitely not looked good for Team Liquid against TSM. But in spring, they got the better of them in the playoffs. But we'll see. I think TSM right now is the better team than Team Liquid. But for Team Liquid, what do you think about them right now? Because like a lot of people thought that, well, since Armeo did really well in those playoffs in spring, he'll just do even better now. He's gonna be a full-time starter. I'm like, you people know he's the worst. He's not good, right? Like, you people know this is Greg, right? He's not that good. Like, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. This guy's
Um,
not that good.
uh, let's see what happens when Alfari. Let's see what happens when Alfari comes back.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's still not a
they
guarantee that Alfari's gonna play this week either. You know, his break is
also
just over.
right, and also we're gonna see Cold interim coach. I'm sure he got some flack for the draft by his team, and
Oh yeah,
they
that draft. So the draft is for
right.
Team Liquid against TSM. TL drafted Lulu, Olaf, Lee Sin, Varus, and Seraphine. If I even have to explain why that's bad, you need to go fucking watch more League of Legends. Not, I'm not gonna bother explaining that, guys. You know why that's a bad draft. You could be a baby that was just born out of a woman, and you would know why that's a bad draft. I'm just being honest here. Wait, TSM played the new Doctor Mundo, right?
Yes, they did play the new Mundo.
So they played Doctor Mundo, Jin Zhao, Azir, Ezreal, and Nautilus. Yep, automatically through draft they won. You should be fired if you put. I'm just kidding. You that draft that TL put up, is it like a fucking draft against humanity. I don't know. Why would you draft? They drafted Lulu against Dr. Mundo. Fucking Lee Sin against Azir. Azir can just poke out Lee Sin. Ezreal just fucking. Ezreal and Varus are like kind of even. Nautilus and Seraphine. I probably give that to Seraphine, but it just depends on how the team's going. Yeah, TSM's comp was just way better. Like for Team Liquid, it would be nice if their star players would come online, like Jensen and Core JJ. And if they don't play Alfari, I just don't see them winning the trophy this split. I just don't see it. Like, did I not call it, dude? Did I not say Jenkins only popped up on Akali like you did? Did we not call that? He literally only looks
Yeah.
good on Akali. He played like dog shit in
Oh,
the Lulu game.
surprise, surprise! A broken champion.
Carries you. Yeah. That's the crazy thing. Then the other team is TSM obviously. They went 2-1. They took care of FlyQuest. They took care of Team
Team
Liquid,
League.
and they only lost to EG. They played pretty good this past weekend. The only issues I really have with them is that they don't really lane too long. They just kind of just get out of lane and just kind of start fighting. But that's fine. If that's how they're gonna get wins, I mean it's whatever. But I don't really know what else I can really say about them. They're not really playing badly this split. I don't really see much problems with them. Maybe that's because after they analyze their game more, I don't really see a problem with how they're playing the game. Sordar is kind of always randomly wrong place, wrong time. I think Sordar has had a lot of missed positions, but I'm not really seeing a ton of egregious mistakes, which is really crazy. Usually their gameplay is always kind of suspect, but I haven't really seen anything bad from TSM, man. I'm just being honest here, guys. I haven't really seen anything bad from them because I know people like loving people bash TSM. I'm being honest here, guys. I haven't really seen a lot of bad things from them. There's like a few bad things, like Sordar's positioning is always kind of questionable. Some games he was playing like really bad on Leona. I think this week or last week he was playing like atrocious on the pick. But that's pretty much it for me. What about you?
TSM has been uh, trying to figure out the world, trying to figure out their roles and team identity. They've done a pretty good job. We've seen PoE go from playing Lucian to Viego mid to back to
Mm-hmm.
Ori to Azir. So they're trying to play around the stuff. The flex with the Rumble now because you don't know if Huni can play it, and Huni showed why he was a good Rumble player because his Rumble performance was really good. There was a lot of times where I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking this guy is dead,
Mm-hmm.
and he really like just like how Demonte was known for his Kiana.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Huni's Rumble is pretty legit. Say what you want about the guy. Say he's a heister too. He's been criminal. That's what I like to call these people when they steal money. But so far, I think the reason why Huni is trying his well, I wouldn't say trying. He's playing probably one of his best spring and summer splits is because when you're on an organization like a TSM, a Team Liquid, 100 Themes, a C9, you don't want to get kicked off it because it's a brand that can help jumpstart your career.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Svenskeren. Yeah, he came when he came over. Where did he come first? He didn't go to C9. He went to
TSM.
TSM, not because TSM probably shelled out more money at that time, but it was either TSM or C9 at that time, and C9 had their jungler. But the point being is that these orgs, and then afterwards he goes to C9, and now he's at EG, so he's still relatively in a good standing. My point being is, let's be honest, when he went to Echo Fox,
Mm-hmm.
he went to Dig, he
Clutch. Clutch
and
dig.
Clutch, and
Yeah.
then he also actually I'm sorry, he went to Immortals, Echo Fox, Clutch, Dig, and then EG. He had a little bit of redemption because Kumo was kind of not doing too well, so he's kind of had like his little journey back in the scene to be relevant, and he's only 23. So he's got like at least 2 3 years left in him if
Mm-hmm.
he performs well. Power of Evil has been great. I think I would assume that he might be up for an extension or something because I don't think they would afford to get rid of Power Evil, and I'm sure Bjergsen
Hmm.
likes working with him. Sword Art, has he been has he lived up to the deal that they made? For the most part, I'd say 75%. He's
Yeah,
lived up to it.
because
Um,
he even said in one of the Travis videos that I watched, he even said he's been trying to work on his own gameplay. Because you could tell he has been having the most best split, but it's been serviceable. Nothing like, $6 million worth.
well, I mean, it's better than what I mean. Not to toss poop at your face, but
Uh,
it's better than some of Perk's play gameplay.
Lots of it, yeah. Purse has been playing pretty bad this split.
But
You
but yeah,
know,
that's it for TSM. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I'll go
Well, the
more.
last team to talk about is Cloud9. Cloud9 ended up beating Golden Guardians and CLG. They lost to 100 Thieves. Now, them losing to 100 Thieves doesn't really surprise me. 100 Thieves right now are playing better. Perks has had some pretty questionable games. So has Blabber. So has a lot of these guys, actually. It's just more like they're going to beat teams like Golden Guardians and CLG. And even the game against Golden Guardians, it was like, okay, I could see why people said it was close, but they never truly had control over the game, But they did get dove by CLG around the 3 minute mark, and it was 2-1. And then later on, it's always shown why they're the better team because they just have the better players, right? But I'm not really too all bought into them right now. For Cloud9, I want to see more consistent games over the next few weeks, actually, because Sven just came back into the lineup. What was it? This week, right? Yeah, Sven came back in this week or last week, and it's looked better. The level of quality of gameplay has improved. But I need to see more consistency. I know there's so many fans that just like blindly just accept whatever. Not me, not me. That's not gonna happen at all. They had a really good team fight against CLG in the 14-minute mark of their game, and that pretty much is just solidified they're gonna win the game, obviously. But yeah, that's all I have to say for Cloud9. I just want more consistent performances, a lot more clean performances. If you're talking about them playing against these other bottom of the table teams, there shouldn't be a point where like Golden Guardians has control over a game if you have a team like Cloud9 against them. And then moving into like this week, you're obviously having a tough schedule because they face both rivals, Team Liquid and TSM, this weekend. And the last team to talk about is 100 Thieves. They are tied with TSM with a 21-9 record. 100 Thieves have been basically stomping the competition. It's hard to tell because of how kind of weak NA can be, sometimes. But Abadage has had some interesting, questionable performances, like where he's been making like a lot of these like poor engages, but overall it's looked pretty good from him. Dude, Power of Evil, this split should be the all pro first mid laner. He has to win it at this point. If he doesn't win it at this point, that's a crime against humanity, dude. How
um,
I think his only competition is like Abadage. Like,
um, uh, yeah. I mean, if, let me just make sure I'm looking at
mhm,
the standings before I just use few nonsense. So we've been through 12 games so far. So they got, I think they have 17 to go. I think they have like 16 to go or something like that. Because yeah, so we're nearing the halfway point. I
mhm.
would say he's definitely. I would say this is gonna sound weird. I think he's the MVP of this split.
I was gonna say that too. Yeah.
Like
I was gonna have Dardoch again if he fucking kept playing, but I other than like Dardoch, if I'm looking at players across the league, I'm looking at players like Power of Evil. I see no one on Cloud9 being my MVP, guys. I'm sorry, they have all had not good performances this play. I'm sorry, I'm probably not even gonna have any of them in my All Pro team. Probably outside of like Vulcan.
um, I wouldn't be surprised if um a team picks up one of the teams picks up Dardoch. Unless he's gonna like
Punch someone in the
uh,
face after reviews of games.
something like that. But that's my stance. Cloud9. I mean, 100 Ds rather. Let's let's. They are pulling out. They're being the G2 of NA. What I mean is they're showing like a variety of stuff. But let's not do what we did for G2 in the sense of we're crowning them kings before they even won the war. Like people were
Yeah.
saying G2 was gonna win Worlds when it was like 2019 or
Hmm.
I believe it
Yeah.
was 2019. So it's like let's hold the phone right there, folks, because we say this for G2. Like this is the best team and this is the best team in NA, and you never know. Let's say playoffs start and they get upsetted and they drop to the lower seed. That could potentially happen,
It's true.
depending on.
Yeah.
So like let's just look at the games one by one. But they are performing very good, and Reaper is an improvement over Zix. So
Yeah, like I could easily see why they're first place though. Reaper's way of looking at the game and his specific style he likes to play and implement on the players can literally, like, you can see it in the game. Like, this is how Cloud9 used to play, which is a style I think Cloud9 should always still try themselves. I think Reaper's playstyle was fine. Like, people always question like drafting. I don't think it was drafting that always screwed him over. I think, like, there's other factors into that too. But 100 Thieves, they look really strong. The only problem I had with Someday was that he was getting in melee range as Gnar against the Renekton with like the Renekton matchups, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But overall,
yeah, that's a losing matchup, by the way. I tried that. That's not like you literally cannot kill Renekton, but you don't like. I've played. If you play that matchup the best, you have to. The only way you get on the Renekton is literally you have to whittle him down, and you have to make an outplay because Renekton will has just a lot of kill potential, which that's not it's Renekton. That's the nature of the champion, but yeah, that's just my
hmm
lane analysis. That it's more like wait till a team fight or get jungle help
hmm
or whittle down and then see if you can perform an outplay. It's not like a dominant um lane.
yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. For this week of the LCS 2021 Summer Split. Sorry about that. The teams look pretty solid,
Yeah,
somewhat at the top of the standings. So your top four are pretty much going to be Cloud9, TSM, 100 Thieves, and Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid is the weakest out of the top four. 100 Thieves and TSM right now. I wonder when they'll play again, or I think they've already played. No, they'll play again. I think around week 6 or 7 because
yeah,
yeah, they play next week. So next week, if they're still at the top of the table after this week, we'll see who's the best team out of
yeah.
both
They
these
have
squads.
counting this week 5. So we're gonna be in week 5 now. They only have 4 more weeks. Like we basically have 1 month till Worlds.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how we like just were in lock-in tournament 1 month and now we're gonna be like almost finishing summer splits and going in the worlds. You know, I and like the thing here, like I think someone asked us like, who do we think is gonna not make it to worlds? I don't. It's probably gonna be Team Liquid. Honestly, I don't really see a world where they make it right now, but anything can change. You know.
like like the thing is like as much as I'm a TSM fan, I Power of Evil when he's been on a good team like FlyQuest, he's taken in the Worlds, right?
Hmm.
But with if 100 Thieves didn't make the upgrade, I could definitely see TSM going to Worlds.
Hmm.
But we've seen them not make Worlds 2 years in a row. So
Hmm.
could that happen again? Possibly with the
Potentially.
100 Thieves.
It says you don't
I
want to go 0-6 at worlds again, right?
no, I don't want any. Listen, listen. I will. I religiously say I will always root for my NA teams. I just want any one of them to make it out of groups. I don't care who.
Yeah.
Anyone
And
make it out.
yeah, and then like after MSI, we were also tilted after Cloud9's performance. We're like, there's a reason why I have like, there's not even a reason I have two teams. It's more like I love Cloud9, but let me be honest here, like NA, we suck. So like, hoping they do well internationally is crazy after all these many years of disappointing performances.
Oh,
If you literally like discount Cloud9's world performances, then most of NA just is fucking trash.
well,
And it's crazy that people go like, well, they'll do better this year. Is there any indication of that, or are you just
uh,
being blindly optimistic?
man, I really wish, man, like maybe I can find, maybe for another stream I'll find the tweet, but basically, um, what what happened was like um I basically said on this guy's stream like you need to stop supporting this nonsense. Like, don't tell me how to feel about my team. I didn't say you can't you can't feel for your team, but you can't be supporting this garbage gameplay every time Worlds and then say, oh, next year, next year, next year. That's like that's like someone like that's like a dad promising their kids, yeah, next year I'll get you that toy. Next year I'll get you that toy.
Mhm.
And then there comes a point where you're at the point where you're like 18 or
Mhm.
17, you're working on your own, and you're like, you know what, Dad, it's okay. I can buy the toy for myself. Don't.
It's all.
I,
It's like the Raiders too. They always proclaim they're going to do better every season, yet they don't. It's the
Las
same
Vegas
shit.
Raiders.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, it's like all these like random sports teams that you know are fucking garbage. They're like, yeah, we'll do better. We'll do better. First round draft picks, and that's how we'll do better. No, no, we know you're bad. Like, who the fuck watched Buccaneer games? Because they're always trash. It's the same concept. Like I explain to people, we're not good. Are we a top four region? Maybe. If that's that blindfold optimistic thing. Are we a top four region when the PCS just kind of like smacked us around at MSI? Maybe. And people want to go, well, that's just MSI. That's an excuse. Like, people need to stop like downplaying performances because they don't like the result. You know how people do that all the time? Well, it's just MSI. Well, what if you lose to the PCS at Worlds? Well, that's just Worlds. Then what do you value then? Because it's all over the place with some of you guys, you know? You don't like it when you lose, but then when you win, you want to proclaim all this like horse shit. That doesn't work that way, you know? Are we a tougher region? That's debatable. I'll just say that. But with that, guys, we'll come back to you guys later on tonight. We'll get you guys the LEC recap. Actually, T Root will be there.
The better region.
The better region to talk about. Yeah. Anything else you want to say, man? Anything else you want to say, man? Before we close out?
We're at the halfway point, so of this
Yay.
split. I can't wait to see. Maybe we might get. Maybe a team might just shoot up to the fourth spot. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I'm gonna keep a good eye on this split, and yeah, it was a great stream.
All right, guys. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, Way of Life Esports. Signing out, guys. Peace. Have a good day. See you guys later, and deuces. Peace. Goodbye.